Wanderer here, and before I release this video of this interview I did, I just wanted to preface it by saying that this lady and her husband were there together. She was claiming to be a socialist, but honestly I kind of found her more in the middle, but maybe that's because I'm left of center still. I don't know. Her husband was definitely a conservative, but they are definitely working towards doing active engagement in preserving the Second Amendment and our rights in Oregon. But check out this interview from the Second Amendment rally. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Brandy Munger.
Hi, Brandy. So we just watched you speak. I caught a little bit of I think I caught most of your speech. How do you balance? You said that you were a socialist.
I'm an extreme liberal and extreme socialist.
Tell me how that marries, because I'm curious.
You know, it doesn't marry very well when you hear a lot of people saying, saying stuff like, oh, we want it to go all red and you know, illegal immigrants and stuff like that. But I try and keep an open mind, because I know that the only way to make a bridge between these two sides is to keep my head and to listen, because if you don't listen, they won't listen to you. If you're lucky, they'll listen. But my biggest problem is that I honestly believe that all the rights and liberties we have are in serious jeopardy if the Second Amendment goes down.
Well, and I think that's the belief of everyone, regardless of our political stance, that believe in guns. Hang on. But what I think a lot of my viewers are curious about is that they're seeing this shift towards the Second Amendment from people on the extreme left, yes. Bernie Sanders supporters, for instance.
A lot of them are afraid to come forward, because I got a lot of backlash on social media.
I can only imagine.
And with friends and family, because they always go back to well, do you want our children to die? And then the other problem I have is that when you present facts, like our children aren't actually dying at the rate you think they are, and they're not dying because of AR-15s. Most of these mass shootings were with handguns and stuff like that. When you present them with facts, they don't even want to hear it, because they're coming from an emotional point of view instead of a factual point of view. So I try and let them get that out, and then try and come at them with just facts and calm. But yeah, it's really hard, because a lot of people like me would like some more support, and they're afraid to come forward. So I'm glad that a lot of people here also said that they want us to include everyone, because that's the only.
Well, I have a saying: liberals can be patriots too.
Exactly.
And I think that liberals are the original protectors of the First Amendment,
yes, they are.
And they haven't typically protected the Second Amendment. I think, like you said, because of emotional backlash, emotional reactions. But let me ask you this really pointed question, and please do not get angry with me. But many people who are going to look at this video from the right are going to suggest that maybe the left is interested in the Second Amendment now so that they can fight us in a civil war and take out the Constitution completely, and that their support of the Second Amendment is fake and feigned for the purpose of arming themselves to fight us and overthrow our own government. This is the conspiracy theory. What would you say about that, being a person who identifies as a socialist?
Most of my family, most of my family, like as in my children or stuff, they were all raised like me, to be liberals and stuff. But the people who think that, they obviously haven't spent a lot of time around many liberal people. If you're really supporting the Second Amendment to have a revolutionary war to fight against everyone else's rights and stuff, if you're willing to take all the backlash and everything, I don't think there are very many people who are doing it like that. Most of the liberals, like me, know that this is a slippery slope. One goes down and the rest follow. I mean, we've seen it time and time again in country after country. As soon as they disarm their populace,
I wrote a song about it called "You Can Have My Guns Over Your Dead Body," and I talk about in the verses how that's what they did. Chairman Mao did in communist China. It's what Stalin did. And, you know, in those cases, there were 50 million and 100 million, respectively, people that were killed because their rights were taken away and they could no longer defend themselves.
Exactly. I mean, everybody's talking about the Holocaust, but it's as recent as, I think in the 70s.
Pol Pot had to take the money, had to take the guns in Cambodia.
I don't think the liberals are faking this. I think that they understand, because a lot of them value the First Amendment so much. that they're willing to stand up and fight for the Second Amendment because they realize that without the Second Amendment, we won't have the rest.
So what's the hot button issue that just prevents you from being a right-winger? I mean, you're pro-gun, that's half the battle.
Maybe I didn't make myself clear. I'm an extreme socialist liberal.
So you want socialized medicine, you know, single payer health care, gay marriage, and I mean, honestly, you and I are a lot alike. I wouldn't call myself an extreme socialist by any means, but
I'm very extreme. I mean,
I'm in favor of gay marriage. I think gay people have the same rights as any other American.
Absolutely. The whole point is that we're Americans and we're supposed to be free and we're supposed to stand up for the things we believe in.
Right. I may not agree with you, but I'll fight and die for your right to express yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm also standing up to the backlash and having to, you know, it hurts to listen to them say, you know, screw the liberals and they're trying to take away this, because I know I'm not. I'm trying to help defend it. And I think that...
Can I ask you a pointed question here? And
sure.
Because you're being so nice and sweet, and I don't want to be abrasive. However,
you're fine.
Okay.
I don't get upset.
All right. Ask you: you feel like maybe you're just out of touch with your party? Because I think most of us feel like your party is about rewriting the Constitution, redoing creating a new country that we wouldn't recognize as America.
Utopia.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that what most people I talk to, and you don't seem to have that point of view. Are you just out of touch with your own party? Maybe you're not as much of a socialist as you thought you were.
Well, you know, I was a Bernie Sanders supporter.
I was too, until he rolled over for Hillary Clinton. Then he lost me.
Exactly.
I got so angry.
I've been a lifelong Democrat since I was 8 years old, and I saw John F. Kennedy on TV, and they said he was a Democrat, and I didn't know what that was, and I found out, and I was like, yes, that's what I want to be. And I've supported him all my life until they rigged the primaries, and until Bernie knew he was going to drop out of the race, but continued to take mine and my husband's and everyone else's donations for his plane. And that made me do a long, hard look at the Democratic Party and the liberals in general. And I don't think I'm the one out of touch. I think they are, because that utopia doesn't exist. It's not going to exist if you take away all the guns, because look at London. They're having a massive knife epidemic. It doesn't work that way. And if you show them the facts, they don't like to hear it, but if you show them the facts, most of these mass shootings and stuff are in gun-free zones.
Well, and Chicago is the most gun-restricted city in America.
They don't like to hear that. Oh, no, it goes down if you take all the guns away. And then they throw in, like, Japan and London, England, how they don't have guns. And I'm like, that doesn't matter here, because you were born here. And when you're here, you have the right to bear arms and to defend yourself and to defend your liberties. That's different. It's not the same thing.
Well, I don't know how you can say that and be a socialist. So I'm rejecting your argument that you're a socialist, and I think you're more of a centrist like me.
No, I just don't believe that utopia exists without people who are willing to stand up and fight for it. They're not willing to stand up and fight for it, other than going to rallies and saying we're going to take rights away from everyone. I think that's the thing that pisses me off the most about the people who like things like I do. Marriage, you know, everybody has the right to do what they want with their bodies and everything else.
And I think more and more quote-unquote conservatives are getting the opinion that, you know, if you're going to follow the Constitution, then, you know, gay people have the same rights as non-gay people.
You don't get to pick and choose.
Right. It's all of the Constitution or none of it. I think that's what makes you and I both libertarians.
I read the definition of libertarian, and I voted for Jill Stein.
There you go.
Because she was the closest I could come to, but I'm not a libertarian. I'm very much a socialist and liberal. I just don't agree with the fact that they have dropped so far off the grid of... I mean, you can prove that our government is bought and paid for. All of the politicians, they're not fighting for us, they're fighting for themselves. They're all millionaires and stuff like that. All their policies and everything they're making that are supposedly for the left aren't really for us. I mean, they have backstabbed their own, you know, they'll come out and campaign for this and that and then turn around and do the exact opposite.
Well, the argument I have when I like to talk to people that are liberals that are against the Second Amendment, I like to ask them one question. So, you know, I'll ask you this question. Do you trust Donald Trump?
Oh, hell no.
Okay, then why would you trust him to take our guns and to have our guns?
Exactly. You know, I love that. Everybody's like, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. And then he was the first one on the news, a couple weeks ago, they were talking to him in that news press, and he's like, no, we should just take him away and then have a hearing or something.
I think he was playing 4D chess, but I don't know. And now he's gone to war in Syria, and a lot of his extreme right wingers are deserting him. I'm still on the fence on Syria. I haven't got enough information, but to me, war is bad. That's part of what makes me not necessarily a true conservative.
Things at home. It cost $226 million for that attack last night. And
how many people could we feed?
$55 million to fix Flint.
Right, and it's hard to argue that argument.
And that's another thing. All these liberals are so willing to jump on the bandwagon to take away our rights, refusing to acknowledge the true facts about the situation, and they won't stop to listen to the other side and hear what everybody's concerns are. And I think that's what makes me a socialist and a supreme liberal, is because I'm willing to listen to everybody. I'm willing to hear the actual facts and take into their consideration. I think that's what makes you a real liberal person, is you're willing to open up and take every point of view.
And okay, so here is, and this is such a hypothetical question, but it is a little pointed. I'm going to put you on the spot.
That's okay.
So you sound to me like you firmly support the Second Amendment. If there's a civil war over the right to keep guns, which side will you go with?
My husband's got.
Will you give up your guns, or will you be like us and fight to keep them?
He said I was going to get in trouble for putting it on Facebook, but I said that I will fight to the death to keep my guns. I will fight to the death to not register my weapons.
Well, that makes you a sister to the Sage Wanderer Nation. Give me the fist bump. All right. And say your name again?
Brandy Munger.
Brandy, thank you for talking with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Check us out on Sage Wanderer on YouTube.
Awesome.
Thanks.